Welcome to Artifact Explorations with the Kelsey Museum of Archaeology. Today, we're going to talk about mummification. If I asked you to describe ancient Egypt in 3 or 4 objects, what would you say? Your answer probably included things like pyramids, mummies, maybe King Tut, or even the Sphinx. What is it that all of these things have in common? They are all associated with death. In fact, many of the artifacts that we have from ancient Egypt actually come from funerary contexts and tombs. We might think that because most of what we find comes from tombs and is associated with death, that the ancient Egyptians were obsessed with death. But in fact, the opposite was true. They were obsessed with life and life after death. The ancient Egyptians believed that after a person died, they went on a journey through the underworld. And if they successfully made it through, they were able to join the afterlife. The afterlife was a mirror of your living life. So in the afterlife, you needed all the everyday things that you needed in your living life, including food, different possessions, and your body. This was why the process of mummification was so important. The body was needed to make the physical journey through the afterlife and was needed to enjoy that happy afterlife fully. The body was also needed for a place for the Ba to return to when it was traveling. But we will return more to the Ba later. The process of mummification is fairly straightforward, though we do see some variation in the actual practice of it. First, you died, and then specialists would remove your internal organs through a slit made in the left side of your abdomen. The lungs, stomach, intestines, and liver were saved and put into canopic jars like these, while the heart, as the seat of reason, remained in the body. The brain was removed using a metal or wooden hook inserted through the sinuses and was pulled out through the nostrils. The body was then packed with a combination of soda ash, baking soda, and salt, or natrum. This mixture helped to desiccate the body by removing all of the moisture and helping to preserve it. Once the body was desiccated, the natrum mixture was removed, and the body was washed, anointed, and wrapped in linen bandages. Just like Isis, Nephthys, and Anubis assembled and wrapped the body of Osiris, the first mummy. During the wrapping process, amulets like these were added to the wrappings and placed over specific parts of the body. The body was then placed in a coffin, like this one, though sometimes less ornate. And then, if you were very wealthy, your coffin was placed into a stone sarcophagus. The coffin was then placed in your tomb or burial chamber on the 70th day after death. This was an astrologically significant day. The placement of the mummified body in a secure tomb was essential because the body acted as an anchor or a place for the Ba to return to. The Ba was the part of the individual that could continue to interact with the living world after death. It could leave the body and tomb, visiting the living, attending ceremonies, and receiving offerings. But it needed the body in the tomb to return to. If your body was destroyed, the Ba would have nowhere to settle. That's not a good thing. This was why people took such care in the mummification process, as well as providing some extra safeguards in their tombs. If, for example, the body was removed from a tomb, there were wall paintings that included images of the deceased, as well as inscriptions carved in the tomb that included their names. These were just some of the plan Bs that the ancient Egyptians put in place to ensure that their Ba would always have a place to settle, even if their body was destroyed. Thank you for joining us today for Artifact Exploration as we explored the process of mummification. We hope you enjoyed it and join us again soon.